Okay, so this was round 4, board 2. Why don't you introduce yourselves and we'll go around and start with you.
I was playing France.
Okay.
Bernard Andrioli, I'm playing Germany.
Kevin O'Kelly, I played England.
I'm Nicholas DeLateur, and I played Austria.
Joshua Shank as Russia.
Steve Cooley, I played Turkey.
All right, and who did we? Who's not here? Who was playing?
Jason was playing Italy.
As Italy, and he's not in. All right, and what was the final result on the table?
Something like 11-11, 7-4-1.
Okay, and who are the two 11s? Okay, all right. So who wants to give me the 1,000-foot overview about how the board went down?
I think Kevin should, because Kevin was mostly dictating the play of the entire board.
All right, Kevin.
Only Kevin knows the story.
I don't know much in the South, so I'll need some help with it. But in the North, we started out with a proposal of a Western. Bernard's immediate response was, sure. He's Germany. The immediate response was, sure, but I get 3. I said, I'm for that if you can get France to agree to it. And he talked to France. France was on board with it. I got Norway. I took it with a fleet because I didn't want to put any pressure on Russia. And he then built Army St. Pete. So I was like, wait, yes, I put a fleet up there. What are you doing?
Thanks, Josh.
Yes. We kept him out of Sweden in spring of 2 to leave it a little play-by-play, but I snuck up enough where I was on St. Pete, this was still in play, and Bernard had gone over to Temple Warsaw, so he could guard one of the 2. Someone else talked to get you to defend Warsaw, because if I put a fleet here, it was of little concern to you. So I put a fleet up there.
That was me.
Oh, and the 3 of you were still kind of even planning your negotiations together?
What I told Josh was, if Germany's going to get Warsaw, it's much more of a threat to you to have him in Warsaw than it is to have Kevin's fleet buried in St. Pete. And at that point, Kevin had given me another story that we were working together, to which I believed him again.
Not actually the case?
I think in his mind we always were. It's just that his moves really not only hit it from the rest of the board, but also hit it from me.
You, all right. Your heart was pure, though.
Totally pure, totally pure. I picked up one, we kept Bernard out of Sweden, we said stay neutral. He lost one because Peter had walked into Munich, agreed upon, but instead of him being 7 or something, he was at 5. I grew to 5, he grew to 6. I built fleet, London, and went to English Channel, and we put an army convoy down to scare the crap out of Peter.
With the pure heart. All right, so that was the opening on this side. What about you guys? What went down here?
Well, in the beginning, I think it was I'd say it was pretty bland. We bounced in the Black Sea, Russia and I did. There was no move to Armenia, none of that Chicago special stuff. And but Italy was really the big mover in the early part of the game.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And when I mean mover, I mean he moved attitudes.
Okay, right. He drove the play by the way he negotiated.
Drove the play, and this is a big lesson in diplomacy. It's not just about pieces; it's about people. And he ticked off a number of people with his approach, and that was it.
So we were the first people to talk in the entire round, and in the first 5 minutes we basically decided we didn't trust each other at all, and that continued the rest of the game. So he moves directly into Trieste in the spring, which I covered with Vienna after negotiating a DMZ in Galicia, so I felt comfortable doing that. And then I spent the rest of the game slowing him down and making sure he couldn't get anything off me. And at the time, I was deciding whether I was going to go AT or RAT, and eventually I decided just to put everything into Turkey's hands and started supporting him into Romania while I slowly went into Tyrolia to take Venice and such, although France had already moved around at that point. And then it was simply a matter of eliminating Italy, eliminating the remains of Russia, except for Warsaw. And after that, the 2 board tops decided that they would draw.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was. I went up to Steve as we were finishing up spring negotiations, and I said,
Spring 01?
Spring 01, and I said, Steve, I've never seen Austria and Italy hate each other's guts before a piece is moved.
Wow.
Which was what I was detecting.
All right. So what about you as Russia?
I was hoping to work a game-long alliance with Turkey and Austria, especially since the Italian players seem kind of erratic. I felt that any English, French, problems were just a mask. I felt like that was a pretty strong
Okay, you
alliance.
kind of saw that.
I saw,
You didn't think Western
I think there
Triple
might have
so
been a
much
little nervous
as
about it,
EF.
but when I saw Germany get 3 centers, I felt like that was not going to last. I had a tough decision to make. I built an army in St. Pete to sort of like, and I moved it down into Livonia. So I understand Kevin's reaction, although he didn't have to follow through and take St. Pete once I moved down to Livonia.
Have you seen No Country for Old Men?
Yeah, flip a coin. Right?
You don't have to do this.
Maybe he does. Maybe it's the right thing to do. Also, for the first 5 minutes of spring 1902, when we did builds, Steve put fleet Smyrna, but somebody put the fleet in Ankara. And for a good 5 minutes, I felt like that was the build until I asked him why. And then somebody had put the piece in the wrong place, and that was tough to come back from that because I spent 5 minutes negotiating as if I'd already been stabbed.
Oh no, I saw the build.
Yeah, I don't stab on builds. First of all, I mean that's about as bad as it gets. I mean, really, that's
I
the
don't know
worst.
who put the piece there.
Or if it just got thrown on the map and
There was one interesting moment because I figured Peter moved into Munich in spring 1902. And I thought it was a pass-through, right?
All right, so you were in Burgundy at the end of
I was in Burgundy
1901?
in Paris, right? I built in Paris. I was in
Right.
Burgundy, and we were looking. Bernard had told me, "Hey, you know, when I would do Western Triple, I'm going all out. So I'm going to Prussian Silesia." And it looked like he was probably going to get sweet and had a salad on him. And he was like, "If I get both, I'll give you Munich." And then Austria, I think, also at the time had a unit in Tyrolia, right? Something else could have gone into Munich. And so I was like, "You want to just cover Munich now?" And I went in there. And I was like, "It's okay for me to get a build fleet Marseille." And he was like, "Okay." And so he gave me Munich, and at that same time, Kevin, unbeknownst to me, supported Russia back into Sweden and bounced him. So I got Munich off of him. I don't think Kevin even knew he was giving me Munich. He probably thought I was walking through, but maybe he did. And then he bounced him and bounced him out of Sweden, so I didn't get the build. And I still built Fleet Marseille because I was still in the Western Triple.
And so then Kevin builds and moves to the channel, and
who to interview on the board is the guy who is dictating everything.
By the way, can I say the support into Sweden was a marvelous idea. I loved it. I don't know where it came from, but it was a great idea.
It was my idea.
It was your idea. Oh, okay. I'm going to say...
Put the pressure on Peter. We were good.
Yeah?
Another draw vote.
Another draw vote. Well, hey, guys, thank you very much. Good luck tomorrow. Yeah?
Thanks, Chris.